From a radio studio on Long Island, New York, come two die-hard fans of the greatest rock and roll band hailing from Hollywood, California. Dissecting all things Guns N' Roses and anything else in their distorted minds, it's Brando and Scotto.
'Cause you know what the fuck you are!
And this is Appetite for Distortion.
Try it again!
And welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion. It is back, episode 12, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Live from New York City. Well, not live. We're doing it here live, I guess. But by the time you hear it...
Oh, you know what's so funny? You saying that?
Scotto.
You saying that reminds me of, you ever listen to Fighter and the Kid, their podcast?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, the intro is them saying, like, we are live. It's one of them. And then the other one going, no, it's not live. And that's like the whole joke of the intro. Yeah. He's like, it's not live.
Parallel thinking. Yeah. But anyway, Appetite for Distortion. We are back. My name is Brando. With me, as always, is my partner in perfect crime, Scotto. Reunited. And
it's been a
so
while.
Good.
Well, for one, it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas outside, I have to say.
Oh, what's Hanukkah?
It's never beginning to look a lot like Hanukkah.
No, everywhere.
It is beginning to look a lot like Christmas outside.
Yes, here in New York City, this is the first.
It's starting to snow, and it's cool, man. I like it. I know you are like, but you know,
I don't like snow.
At least for a little bit, it's cool, and then I want to get back to the warm weather. But
if I don't have to go anywhere, and I like the snow. It's when I have to travel that I don't like it. So yeah, it's actually, I believe, it's the first snowfall here in New York City.
Yeah, it did a little bit yesterday, very lightly, but
a little smear of snow. But yeah, I mean, it
feels like Christmas time in New York. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I do like this season because everybody is just nicer to each other. I've noticed that. Yeah. I really used to be that bitter. Well, I still am a bitter Jew, but more so. I remember, not to sidebar too much, and yes, this is a Guns N' Roses podcast. We'll get plenty of that. When I was 10 years old, I said to my grandma, I don't want to be Jewish anymore, so I can celebrate Christmas. And she got really upset.
Christmas is more fun, though. It really is. I do call this Christmas time at this, and I give Christmas gifts. I don't know, man. I'm not a religious anything, but
Good job, Jew.
I think of December 25th. I think of his Christmas time. I do.
It is. It's just a different atmosphere, and I think.
And 99.9% of the audience thinks of it as Christmas time. Damn it.
We're going to get into this, and this is what I think what ties into a lot of what we're going to talk about here.
What, Christmas?
The political correctness.
Oh yeah.
That I used to be, because I was younger and a lot more immature, because I'm a lot more, because I still am, when people would say, Merry Christmas, and I would go out of my way to correct them.
Oh, my mom is like that.
I used to be, now I don't care. I know you mean well, but we're going to get into the politics that Axl has gotten into, that Duff has gotten into, and some of the other rock stars, whether we agree with it or we don't agree with it, not as so much as far as their point of view specifically, but whether they should be allowed to do that. Or,
of course you're allowed.
Not allowed, but I mean, let's put it this way. Mark Wahlberg, the actor, recently said celebrities should just shut the F up.
That always happens.
That's the angle we're going to discuss. And
I remember, I think after the Dixie Chicks said stuff about Bush, they were like, just shut up and play. Yeah. And also the famous Axl line,
just shut up and sing.
Yeah.
From Sorry,
you know where to put your just shut up and sing, which may have been aimed at Slash.
So fun. If it is, the fact that they're playing that live is just out of control.
I've heard that it was aimed at Slash, or just maybe people of shut up and sing, because he's been a guy who's been known to go on tangents, even though for the past few years he kind of just goes up there and plays. The talking in between songs is very minimal, which I'd be fine with hearing Axl rant, but there hasn't been a whole lot of it in previous years.
No, I mean, it's been a long time since we heard this.
He's in my ass. That's where Slash is. Fuckhead, go home.
Yeah.
I added some toys.
I like it.
But he really hasn't, and he hasn't been. He's been socially active with certain things.
Yeah.
With animals or even with foreign rights, of course, Chinese democracy. But now, the fact that they just played Mexico and they brought out a Donald Trump piñata.
Yep.
And I thought it was funny. We've just both said that we're not fans of his. But it upset a lot of people.
Now that he's the president, I'm very much willing to give this man a chance, which many people aren't.
I look at it like I have no choice.
Yeah, I've openly said that I think he's the better option of the two, even though I didn't vote for him. Not to get all political here, because that's not what we're doing. But we want. Am I a fan of the man? No, but who knows? He might be a great president. Who knows?
Well, I'm looking at it like this, and this is also something that's interesting that correlates to Guns N' Roses and the rock and roll world, because we talk about everything. We talk about our lives, the world, but everything has that nucleus of Guns N' Roses. And I think what's important is in a world that we're living in that is so diversified and so angry, you're either this or you're that.
Yeah.
If you're that, I'm against it. If you're this, I'm against it. If you're on the other side. What social media has created, and if you read, and I think Nikki Sixx today, because we're recording this on the 11th, that he quit his very popular Facebook and Twitter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Nikki Sixx quit, and
he's off Twitter and completely.
Yeah,
but Sixth Sense, I assume, still has theirs, because they got to promote the radio.
Sure, and he's still going to be on Instagram.
Wow, that's weird.
And because he is very liberal, and that would get obviously a lot of reaction from a lot of people.
He is, even though it's weird. In the past, he's said things that are conservative. He's done things that are extremely controversial in the past politically.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, that you can ride both sides of the line, and that's how I look at myself, that it's just everything pertains. I don't like being... Oh, you believe in this? Well, I assume you're going to believe in all the rest of this that I label as such and such. So the fact that Nikki Sixx, someone who a lot of people value his opinion, says I've had enough, and that's how I've kind of been a little bit lately with Facebook and Twitter, since the election. It's just I want to be living in a positive environment, and that's what this podcast is about for me and for the listener. We've gotten some great feedback. Hey, we miss you guys. We actually have listeners that miss us. Oh my, that's so cool.
It's been a month. It's a pretty long time. I do feel bad because we were on a good roll for every episode, going every 2 weeks, and life happens, but I think we're going to continue to do this every 2 weeks when we can. And
I think it's the concept that it's only been 12 episodes, and we've hit a core, and we know who you are. The listeners who, that sounds creepy.
Yeah, it's like we know where you live.
We know who you are. Either on Twitter or on Facebook. That we hear you, and we've hit this kind of emotional pipeline of people who love this band, and that's what I'm talking about, where I was my roundabout way of getting to it. The common thread of Guns N' Roses is rock and roll. As I'm going down in what it came out that Donald the pinata of Donald Trump and Axl invited fans up to knock the crowd, or whatever they wanted to do with it. That's what he said. Do with it what you please. That no matter what you believe in, politically or religious, that there's that go back. There's a reason why you were friends with that person on Facebook. There was a reason why you really got along well with your cousin. But now with this, I think I'm speaking for a lot of people.
Yeah.
This election, I've had to unfollow a lot of people because it just brought negativity. I didn't unfriend anybody.
Yeah. Well, pre-Facebook, which you and I could still remember, and younger kids
had the best away messages on a name. Just saying.
But yeah, you didn't have to go every day with seeing your friends' political views on every single thing. And I used to be over the top with politics on Facebook a few years back, and I've definitely calmed down with that because
I've noticed.
Yeah, I like it.
It's hard. It's really hard to have.
I try to be positive. I try to have a positive outlook on life, especially because I think you and I, working in the radio industry, there's a lot of setbacks and a lot of not getting to the point that you want. That in life, I try my best to stay positive, and I try to convey that on social media and not be this downer. And a lot of people there's a lot of people who hated Trump, for example, that it has become all that they post about nonstop. And it's like, dude, just find something positive in your life. This is who the president is. Nothing is going to change it. When he pushes for some agenda that you're not happy with, fight for it. And by fighting for it, go out and do something about it, whether it's volunteering somewhere or raising awareness for something. It's this slacktivism, as they say, of just you think you posted on Facebook and you made a difference, or you shared some video. And a lot of these people share videos for things. They don't donate to the causes they claim to believe in.
Right.
Fucking do something,
So I guess when we speak to Guns N' Roses, what Axl has done with that, I guess it was a couple weeks ago too, he changed the lyrics to Civil War. I believe you brought that to my attention in the last episode. And now doing with the Pinata. And I was curious. I wanted to see the reaction because I want us to be the voice of the people, of the Guns N' Roses people, the population of Paradise City.
Yeah.
You like that probably. But there was a lot of, and I know Facebook isn't the end-all be-all of everything, but I'm on Guns N' Roses Facebook, and a lot of people are commenting. Many of you who may be listening right now, you lost me as a fan. That I saw overwhelmingly. I mean, if
this lost you as a fan, then you weren't that big of a fan.
A lot of people would say that too, but then
we've talked about this. Social media, everybody likes to bitch about everything. If you were on Guns N' Roses Facebook 2 years ago, it would be, "Where is Slash? I'm not listening if Slash isn't here." You know, and then it'll
He's
be
in my ass. That's where Slash is.
and then it would be like, "Why is this song not on the set list?" Like, people just love to complain, man. That's what we do. That's what social media is.
I know.
It's never praise of like, I love the new shows, and if it is praise, it's very short-lived. So
no, you're absolutely right. So I guess it's looking to what Axl did, and he's making obviously a point.
yeah.
You know, he's out there, and when somebody posed the question to me, yeah, I thought what Axl did was funny. To me, it's not. It's a pinata. It's Mexico. It's not insinuating violence to an nth degree that I would take seriously. If he was out there and so he gave somebody like a gun and brought out
I don't think that would happen though.
Or maybe I don't know, a paintball. I'm trying to think of like a good safe way to do it. A paintball gun, and he brought up a picture of Donald Trump, and it was something like a violent. I don't know, like a really violent expression. And it didn't. To me, it just seemed very humorous. But that's me. But then someone posed the question: "You love Axl so much. What if he was for Trump?" And it got me thinking. And because we've spoken also a lot about Kiss on this podcast, that I've never been the Kiss fan that you are, but I've always liked them.
Yeah.
You know, they've a handful of songs that I do like. They're not just
everybody does. I think with Kiss, they have so many great songs.
Yeah, but with Gene Simmons, and it wasn't so much political, but the things that he said, the comments after Robin Williams committed suicide.
Yeah,
and he compared it to his mom who survived the Holocaust, and to me that really upset me because
he's openly very anti drugs for one.
Depression.
He's openly conservative, openly capitalist over the top.
That's him. That is him.
You know, and he wears that on his sleeve, and if you don't like it, it's kind of like,
and it bothered me.
Yeah,
and that's something that's bothered me and has ruined Kiss a little bit for me, and I admit that. It's not if he just kept quiet.
Yeah,
but I guess that's a risk you're willing to take. You had Louis C.K. go out there and he says, "I'm taking a risk," and he gave his political views.
Yeah,
I mean, so I guess the question is, and a lot of people are upset at Bruce Springsteen for doing that. He's very well known for being political.
My favorite thing about Bruce Springsteen is that the governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, is like a giant Bruce Springsteen fan.
Springsteen hates him.
And he'll go to the concerts, and Springsteen will like rant about him at the show.
I know.
He'll be like, and I don't know what the hell is with Springsteen's voice, by the way. He's from New Jersey. I don't know why he talks like this guy's from like living on a farm on the South. And he's like, "I think your governor's a fat piece of shit." And he's like,
maybe he always sounds like he's constipated. Maybe we're both.
But it is funny that he just like insults the hell out of the governor while he's at the show.
I know.
And he's like, "Yeah, go Bruce."
Or Bono, I think, is the best example. U2 has taken a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And I like U2, and it's just for whatever reason I'm like, why you don't like Bono? Because he wants to fight AIDS. He wants to. He's really taking his platform and using it for good. So I applaud him for that. Is Axl trying to use it for good? Because we follow a lot of people on our Twitter.
Yeah.
At the AFD Show, and we follow Del James, like it was tour manager. You want to call him? He's the Guns N' Roses kind of.
He's the man.
One of the honorary members, of course. If you know the Guns N' Roses video, "November Rain," that was based in the song. That was based off a short story of his. And he is very political and outspoken about it, but he doesn't have the voice. He doesn't have it. So I look at some people like Axl, like Amy Schumer. If you want to do it, and we spoke about this off the air, that I remember, and not so much shove it in their face, you're a person. You're allowed to do that. So I don't have a problem with either of them doing it. And I guess the same thing, and I don't like him, and that's Ted Nugent. I like his
Well, yeah,
music, but he shoves it in your face.
Well, I didn't get to really give my take on the pinata thing. So starting with that, personally, I didn't like it because for one, he's overseas. Not overseas. He's in another country. He's in Mexico.
Right.
And this is our president at this point.
Sure. So
that in particular, yeah. I mean, not that I have like all this respect for Trump, but it's just like kind of whoever the president is, you go to another country, you don't talk bad about your president. It's just that's always been the tradition type of thing.
I understand.
And I do think it was a little bit more over the top than he said, in the look at the fear Trump's breeding or wherever he said in Civil War.
The fear Trump's feeding.
Yeah.
The Civil War.
This brought it to a new level. Am I going to say I'm done with this band and I'm no longer doing this podcast? Hell no.
Okay.
Do I think it was in poor taste? Yeah.
Fair enough. A lot of people felt that way. Looking at the comments, yeah.
So with Nugent, I mentioned to you Nugent because the thing with Nugent is it's so over the top at this point. Like, you cannot be a liberal, like openly liberal, and enjoy a Ted Nugent concert at this point because the half of the concert is going to be him ranting about Hillary Clinton and Obama and they're taking our guns away, and it's like he's an amazing guitarist, and now only half of the American population or less, because he's so polarizing. I mean, I think most Republicans find stuff that he says ridiculously offensive. I mean, including like the stuff he said about Trayvon Martin. Like, he's very over the top. I remember he also posted the picture, the meme about gun control, and every senator that he posted had a Jewish star on them. So, people interpret it as anti-Semitic. He fought back on that. But either way, he's extremely polarizing. And now it's like, if you don't fit into those political views, you can't even enjoy a show. Like, I'd be fine with him expressing his views, and he's allowed to do what he wants because he's alienated that part of his audience. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it is. You know what? I'll be honest. I love Nugent's stuff, like especially that first album. But
I do too. I honestly, I do, and I'm with you on that. I had a chance to see Ted Nugent for free, and we spoke about this venue before the Paramount.
Yeah.
In Huntington, Long Island, like 15 minutes away from my apartment, super convenient. And I go to my buddy. I'm like, I don't want to see him. I know what he's going to do. In addition to, like, yeah, he's going to play the songs I want to hear. He's going to go on these rants. It's going to upset me.
I would go see him too. Well, I would go see him, but here's what I was going to say.
I didn't. It changed my mind, and I'm not one of those butthurt people. I can compartmentalize, saying, hey, those are your views. They're not mine. That's cool. Like, how do we differentiate?
Sure.
Like, you fired a gun before, correct?
I own a gun, yeah.
You own a gun. I own the duck hunt gun. That is the only gun that I've ever fired in my life. So we have
I'm
different.
going to SHOT Show in January. I'm going to fire a shitload of guns. But no, I just to finish one thing I was saying is I actually had a Ted Nugent shirt, and I stopped wearing it. Not that anybody ever commented on it, but even in my head, I was like, if people see me wear this shirt, do they think I'm a Ted Nugent fan? Or because it was at the time of this, or am I a fan of the remarks he made about Trayvon Martin?
Yeah.
Because now it's like Ted Nugent has become, I think more people think of Ted Nugent as this NRA loving guy than as a great guitarist. And that's definitely a conflict because what he's primarily great at is he's an amazing guitar player and songwriter, And
enough time has passed where he has songs on the radio and classic rock stations, but he hasn't been out there in the public, and this is what his brand has become.
Yeah.
And this is what's great about Guns N' Roses in the rock world, how everything is intertwined. Duff wrote an article for noisy.vice.com, so I guess that's kind of like an offshoot of vice.com.
Okay.
And obviously, he's written a lot.
Oh, he's a great writer
in the past. Yeah. Although, and I thought about this because remember we were talking about his. It's on Netflix now. His It's So Easy.
It's So Easy,
right? And I said I enjoyed it, but his voice sounded too surfer for me. I know who he sounds like to me now. Spicoli.
Oh, I thought you were.
You dick.
Sorry, Duff. Jeez. So yeah, he. I feel like he's talking in the same kind of logical thinking that I am about guns. I don't have any. I haven't fired any. I've never been in this situation to.
Yeah.
And I actually even admit that if we were ever to go to a gun range, I don't know with my physical disability if I could handle a recoil.
I think it'd probably be fine.
I would try it.
It depends on what type of gun too.
I couldn't kill an animal. I could tell you that. That would bother me.
But you eat meat.
I know, but I don't want to see how it's made.
It's hypocritical.
But somebody else. I don't want to be actively.
No, there's a lot of people who do say that, but it is like I It's weird. I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but
and we'll get back to
that's what we do.
That's what we do here. That's our phrase.
But Joe Rogan has become like an avid hunter. And one of the things that Rogan said before he hunted for the first time, he admits he became very obsessed with it, started watching hunting shows, and he said like the first time before I was going to kill an animal, I either was thinking to myself, I'm either going to be okay with this and try to hunt most of the meat that I eat and that type of thing, or I'm going to become a vegetarian or something if I don't feel comfortable with this. So it's kind of interesting. I've never hunted, but I'd actually like to at some point. I don't know how I'd feel about it either though, because I think
I'm afraid to know what it would feel like, because obviously there are a lot of things with like deer, the overpopulation kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it could be helpful. But for me, it's weird. It's awkward. So, for me, I don't have a set opinion on guns. I can understand. It may not be for me, back and forth. So that's what Duff's article is about. And he's a real big history buff. And he was talking about that he went to Thomas Jefferson's monument or whatever. And he was talking about how the laws and the institution must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. And he goes off saying, what would the forefathers think? We don't know. They actually probably would want us to progress with the times. So that's kind of where his article is, saying, we're not going to take your guns. There's certain laws that maybe could help. These rifles that they can shoot, mass shootings wouldn't happen without them. Killings could happen. But he gives in his Spicoli kind of way. You dick. He gives a very intelligent,
I guess,
argument.
I mean, not to get into a whole gun control thing, but like the majority of violent crimes are done with handguns. It's not AR-15s, as they're the media tries to make it look like. And these mass shootings are very rare. Just that they're reported, like crazy.
Oh, of course, because it's
sensational.
It's a big story, and things need to happen. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things. Us being in the media, I don't believe. I mean, there are points where you can have a bias. I don't believe that people are faking news, other than if it's written on Facebook and these.
So you're not believing Pizzagate? That whole thing.
The only Pizzagate that I have is when I go on a Ninja Turtles marathon at home. That's my Pizzagate.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
I mean, but I like surrounding myself like you. We can have different views, or a band like even though Axl and his rants. They can have intelligent conversations, and that's where I am as a person.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to make a sweeping statement. So that's what I love about this band Guns N' Roses, where they just, the music makes you think, the artists make you think, especially as they've gotten older, as they've gotten sober. So that's why I like this band. And there's somebody, and I want to make sure I get his name right. It was somebody from Long Island that messaged us on our Facebook that wanted us to compare the Use Your Illusions to the new Metallica record.
Oh, okay. And I will say, man, no comparison. I mean,
there is no comparison.
GNRs, I like the new Metallica, but Use Your Illusions, those are classic albums.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a different beast. It's just a different animal.
And it's also like the era in which it came out. I've seen the footage of people lined up at Tower Records ready to get the Use Your Illusions albums. It's just a different, like lining up to get a CD. That doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. And I want to make sure I get his name right. Ken Bigora from Long Island. We don't even know him because we're both from Long Island. Oh, and we mentioned just quick, another quick sidebar that we do here. Of course, our intro says from a studio in Long Island. We're in New York City, the heart of New York City, Tribeca.
We might switch the intro at some point.
I'm too lazy, but we're both from Long Island, so kind of
we've said that Brittany could do some new voiceover stuff for us, so maybe.
Yeah, that's our voice girl, Brittany. She's married.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's married, fellas.
She's badass. She does triathlons. She does
She works for Rachel Ray.
She works for AOL now, I know, but she'll do like a triathlon with a screwed up leg. And then she'll be like, I'm going to run another triathlon in 3 weeks. I'm like, you're out of your mind.
But we are in the city, so I guess I did want to mention that. So Ken, who messaged us about the new Metallica, you're right. It's a totally different animal. I think he was just talking about in regards as far as the length of the record.
Yeah.
What I love about Guns N' Roses is that they can have a hard rockin' song, Perfect Crime, Right Next Door to Hell, and then they'll have Estranged, they'll have November Rain. It's just... it's. I think Axl likened it to once like a roller coaster, ups and downs. The new Metallica, Hardwired to Self-Destruct, was just punch you in the face, and it never stopped.
And it's 6 songs per disc.
Right.
Which is weird. So every song is
weird.
long.
Yeah, so they're 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, but they're all punch you in the face. Now, you listened to it before I did, and I don't know why I kind of dragged my feet with it, but I did listen.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good metal record, but for me, it's forgettable. I don't have, and as we will continue, because this is what the show is about, liken it to Guns N' Roses. Plenty of Slash solos are memorable. Of course, they're iconic. Not to say anything Kirk Hammett has done is not. They have been, but on this specific record, for me, forget it. I liked it. If it's on, I'm not going to change it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to it. I will go out of my way and have gone out of my way to listen to the Illusion record.
And every Kirk solo is starting to sound very alike. You know exactly how it's going to sound.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe he was phoning it in a little bit because of the fact that there's not one writing credit by Kirk on the entire album.
That's very weird.
Me. Yeah, and I feel like he gets drowned out by these other two guys, by James and Lars, of course. And here's the thing. I like the album. It's a good album. I think it actually might be the best thing they've done since the Black Album.
And you are in the majority. You're in the majority because a lot of people say that. And I'm just not that. Opinions are like assholes, whatever.
Yeah, but what was amazing since the Black Album? That's the only thing.
I really like Death Magnetic. I really did.
I didn't.
I know,
right.
And we're allowed to. This is why it's America.
Because for me, saying that it's the best thing since the Black Album sounds crazy because it's like, wow, that's I think 1991 is a lot of time. I was a little kid then, but
it's
Metallica,
like Load, Reload, Saint Anger. They haven't.
Yeah, but Metallica's put out a lot of stuff that I'm just not a fan of over the past few years. But I like the new album. It's good. I need to listen to it some more and see if it has any, like staying power with me. But I on no level would I say that it matches Use Your Illusion. Hell no.
No, and I think he was just comparing it to just the length of albums.
Yeah.
They had an interesting marketing plan. I will say that. And I believe Avenged Sevenfold actually came out and said they were jealous of their marketing plan. How they're just going on these talk shows. They did the thing with Jimmy Fallon. They released a video every 2 hours upcoming to the release. So they had a really interesting marketing plan.
And no one knew the album was coming out until they released that Hardwired to Self-Destruct video.
No, they knew. I knew they were making a new record, but
we didn't think it was anytime soon.
They said late. They actually did say late 2016, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, they did say that, but there was no date.
It still came out of nowhere, that video. I remember it's trending that day.
It did. The song came out of nowhere,
yeah.
But it was just kind of like, when is Chinese Democracy coming out? They said it's soon, so Metallica says soon, it'll be soon. Then all of a sudden, yes, you're right, the song came out of nowhere. Then they had a good marketing plan. So it'll be curious because, of course, one of the big things that have happened in the Guns N' Roses world since our last show is that they announced more dates.
Yes, I wanted to get into that.
Yeah, this is all segueing into it, all interweaving. So, they sold 1 million tickets in 24 hours. They're not coming.
Awesome.
I know, it's amazing. And they're not. Their marketing plan, and we were talking about their plan leading up to the first announcement. You mentioned how they were doing some slot machine stuff. There were some clips during movies, about Guns N' Roses. So they had a good marketing plan. I think you might have learned from the Chinese Democracy kind of avenue of what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
I not to say that it was a complete bomb, but they could have done a lot more. If you're gone for almost 2 decades, you need to be seen in public. I'm sorry, Axl.
Yeah.
And even though it's not the real Guns N' Roses to a lot of people, it was a great record. It deserves a lot more praise than it got. And that is something we both agree on.
Oh, yeah.
With Chinese
I love
Democracy.
that album. Listen to it all the time.
But it's interesting, and just going back to Metallica for a second, it's usually Lars talking. But now Kirk Hammett has it seems like Blabbermouth is like the TMZ, I feel like, of hard rock and heavy metal. So he comes out with a new quote every day, and now he says he's going to go out of his way to be political. And that's where...
And he doesn't like Trump, and,
Right.
There's going to be a lot of that over the next 4 years, I think.
And there was a lot of that with... with Obama, and it was just
not
the
as
opposite.
much with rock musicians, though.
No, because you're right. But it's just now the other side.
Yeah.
It's just like we had one side. If you want to make a sweeping general statement, which I try not to do, the people that were hating on Obama for 4 years are now saying calling everyone babies for hating on Trump, and it's the vice versa. So
but
it's all cyclical.
Nothing has happened yet. That's the one thing. We know who he appointed. That's it. You know, it's. I think people are like rushing to judgment based on his campaign rhetoric. I understand.
Well, there's a lot of reasons, but you know, we'll leave it up to your Sothrop and your Andrew Wilkow and that kind of stuff. But we want to just say, with the people that we like, because we're both Metallica fans, is it going to bother you now that you said that it turned you off a little bit with Axl? You're okay with you're still a fan with Kirk Hammett?
In no way though does it make me any less of a fan of the group. I think that's ridiculously silly.
Because you are smart,
and I'm
or logical thinking.
And
a lot of people aren't like that.
I'm die hard though too. With GNR especially, like Axl can't really do any wrong with me.
What if he had like a Jared from Subway scandal? Would that do it?
Oh yeah, okay, that would.
I want to see what the line is.
I still feel like I'd have to listen to the music though. Like it's the same way that people love like Roman Polanski and stuff.
I deleted like that one Lost Prophet song off my iTunes.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
If you don't know about it, read up on it and throw up.
Yeah.
But it's just it's very interesting that that they're so outspoken now, and my friend who is friends with Richard Fortas. So you know how invasive Facebook is. You see people's statuses that you're not friends with because somebody you're friends with like their thing. So I saw Richard Fortas' status on his personal Facebook. He posted the comments about what Axl did or what Duff, his article did. He's like, I'm proud of my bandmates. So they seem to be all in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be funny if Guns N' Roses got back together? Not for the money, because I think that's what actually did Fortas say that? It was somebody in the camp that said they can get back together for the money.
Oh yeah, I think it was Fortas.
But it would be for like some sort of political. Hey, we all hate Donald Trump. Let's get Guns N' Roses back together.
Yeah.
So thanks, Donald. Like, yes, you made rock and roll great again, if indirectly, I guess. But obviously, that's probably very, very far fetched. Yes. But that's still cool that they're showing this solidarity as a band, because that's another reason why this band is so popular, because they were a gang. You believed them. You believed everything that they did out there. Where there a lot of these bands in that time that we spoke with Stevie Rochelle about, they weren't. It was like an act.
Yeah.
But Guns N' Roses is not an act, and it's showing you, even as older guys, it's not an act. And now they may be more verbal, they may be more mature to talk about it, and it's going to be interesting to see, how successful their first tour was, reunion, and now with you can right now it's a success, just selling them the amount of tickets they did, and of course, the trolls are online. Oh, I bet those are bots. Oh, I bet those are scalpers. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like your life.
So. Anyway, getting into tour dates, though.
Yeah, not near us.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the interesting thing is they're hitting like those secondary markets, Hershey, Pennsylvania, and
that's what Stevie Rochelle said. He called it.
Yeah, upstate New York. Yeah, so he did. Shout out to Stevie. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be going to the Hershey, Pennsylvania. Not that it's like out of the realm of possibility for me to say, hey, I'm going to drive this far out, because I've certainly done it before.
You just came back from South Dakota for docking.
Yeah, so. I actually think I'm going to do M3 Fest, which is the Rat reunion and Winger and all that stuff. The fake docking.
Oh, I have. I'll give a shout out for a band that I know that's on that bill. They're called Station.
Okay,
they're around our age, so 30s, and they sound like a power metal band, like a hair metal band.
So anyway,
and they're really good. So check them out. If you can.
We'll do.
You're like, shut up, Randy.
No, it's cool. I was going to say. So I think like of my big travel that I'm going to do in the coming months, that'll be it, because I feel convinced that Guns N' Roses are coming back to New York, New Jersey. I feel hopeful that they will.
Yeah.
Maybe as the time gets closer, I'll say, you know what, I'm going to Pennsylvania. I got to go see this.
Same page.
It's always possible. I feel like if there was some big incentive to make me go there, I would do. Like, if I knew that Steven Adler was going to be there, I'd be there.
Yep.
If I knew that Izzy was going to be there, I would be there.
Yep.
If this is going to be pretty much the same show as New Jersey, I can wait.
Could be interesting who the opening acts may be.
If it's Skid Row, I'll be there.
And we will shortly talk about Baz, but they did announce, and this is a show that I would go to if you really want to travel. Their shows in Japan are going to be opened up by Baby Metal.
Okay.
Baby Metal?
Yeah, I know of them. I don't know like the songs, but I know of them. It's pretty
They're
crazy.
just like I think there are 3 Japanese girls that sing in that style of just Japanese music, but like hardcore heavy metal like instruments in the back, and it's really interesting. And you see people like they're getting endorsed by people like Rob Zombie, and the metal community likes them. Of course, they could be an easy target because they're so different and so weird. But that's a band I may want to see. But Skid Row. Are they going to get back together? That's what we were hoping on last time. I mean, I was happy with Lenny Kravitz, but I want our boy Baz.
Savage animal.
I want him to.
I like the new soundboard, man. It's
Thank you. We're going to keep adding. I want to add some production value to this show.
Yes, I like it.
So I was watching, and we'll get into because it came out after he did this Facebook Live, and I don't know how you feel about it on Facebook itself, but all of a sudden, I'm getting all these alerts by everyone who does a Facebook Live. And it's just, unless you're like a hot chick making grilled cheese in nothing but a hockey jersey and going to invite me over after your Facebook Live, I don't care. I don't care. No one I'm friends with. I love you.
Yet we're doing a Facebook Live after this, which you insist on.
Because we have a point. Because we have.
We do? I don't know. We're not a hot chick in a hockey jersey.
We have
grilled cheese.
Our point may be dumb, but we still have a point because we have a show.
Yeah,
there's a point. But when my friends do it, it's just about something mundane. It's just a live video version of their status they would not have cared about. Yeah. I'm sorry. None of my friends take that personally. You don't know if it's who it's directed at. But I saw Sebastian Bach was and was live. And I was like, oh, this just started.
Yeah, that's worthy of watching.
I got to watch this. And all he's doing is signing books.
Okay.
And I'm like, I think he's funny. He's a funny guy. I mean, I've always been a fan of Skid Row and himself, and especially after that whole show on VH1.
Savage animal.
with the aforementioned Ted Nugent and John Bonham. And
I can't believe how long ago that was.
I know. When I got that clip off it, I was like, whoa.
What is it, 10 years?
It could be something like that, yeah. It was a very funny show. So I'm watching it.
I think it might be more.
It's I would look it up if I cared.
Yeah.
So it was a great show, but I'm like, I want to watch him, see what he's talking about. Because what's funny is as we're in the iHeartRadio studios right now, because this is on the iHeartRadio app, I took off last Monday. Sebastian Bach was in the house. I didn't know.
Yeah.
He was being interviewed by Jonathan Clark on Q104 right here in my building, right down the hall. And I got picked up because I think that's when he was talking about he's having some gripe with Michael Sweet, which is so funny because Michael Sweet, he seems like a sweet man. He wears his Christian faith on his sleeve.
I read his whole book. It was good.
I don't care. I mean, obviously, being what's that?
One sec. Just
no, go stall. No, I'm going to keep this in.
Showing you something.
All right, no, you could do that. So with Michael Sweet, obviously me being a Jew, and I say that I'm a Jew. What are you showing me? Michael Sweet, you have a striper keychain. Well, that's cool.
It's an awesome keychain.
To hell
right?
with the devil. I had a Ninja Turtles keychain like this.
I made James Maresca get me that at the show at Rock Nation Radio on Twitter.
You're never gonna.
That is the coolest looking keychain ever.
It is. No one's ever gonna pick up your keys by accident.
Yeah.
His striper keychain. That's awesome. But obviously, and I'm not even like a practicing Jew. I'm more of like the culture than the religion.
How does this come up every show, goddammit?
It is what it is.
Good job, Jew.
Sorry. Because it's part of like who I am and half of what you are.
I guess.
So
it does not ever come up with me.
I have. What do you want? But I still respect him as a person. I read the after, how he handled the Sebastian Bach thing, I thought was very professional, but Sebastian Bach is just hilarious. So I'm watching him, talk about making the book. He's signing all these. I think he was in a Barnes & Noble here in the city because he was doing a show in Brooklyn that night. And his wife is there, who looks oddly like his old wife, which is really
She's
weird.
hot, man. I
know.
her,
so was his first wife.
I was at the.
But they look the same.
As I didn't get to mention on the show, but as you know, I was at the last show in Poughkeepsie, and I saw his wife there filming the show with his kid, his kid is like up on the bar, dancing around, like acting like he's the front man. It's really cute, man.
How old was the kid? Because the other one...
the kid's probably like 6.
Okay, because he had another kid, and this is what I was trying to get, because I'll get to this point, which has to do with Guns N' Roses, that he was answering questions on Facebook Live, like his... editor was there reading the questions while he's signing the books, and one of his kids is in some like heavy metal band, And he's like, I forget the name of it, but he's like, it was like, that name is so stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Savage Animal.
Savage Animal is great, though.
I know.
It sounds like
I kept trying to type, like, what about Savage Animal? He didn't respond, but he did say this. Somebody asked, he's like, when is Axl's book going to come out? So the voice you're going to hear is his editor talking to Sebastian, and I want to get your reaction.
One person says you should tell Axl to start writing his memoir.
He already did.
Have you read it?
No. But
Is it locked away?
No, but I remember when I was on tour with him in 2010, I was like, I'm going to start writing a book, dude. Because have you started yet? I go, well, I got, chapter or two. I go, have you started writing yours? He goes, yeah, I got like 40,000 words or some crazy number. But who knows if
it'll ever come out?
Who knows?
I think that says so much, and I've said this before, I'm such a fan of Axl's writing, even when it was a gut punch when he wrote that letter explaining why he wasn't going to be at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's just a brilliant writer. So you don't write that much for it not to come out. Like Chinese Democracy, it will come out at some point. But is that your first time hearing it?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
I'd be like the first person in line to buy that book.
Yeah, me too.
I actually really want to read Sebastian's book. I'm reading like so much, and I take a while just because I do other things, listen to podcasts. Yep. It's like currently I'm reading Brian Wilson's book from the Beach Boys.
Okay, sure.
I love the Beach Boys.
I just finally saw the movie, Almost Mercy.
I've never seen it. Love and Mercy. I've never seen it. It was good?
Yeah. It was interesting, and actually made me want to see more because it only gave a glimpse into his life.
I have a feeling you'd like the book because I'm about a third done, and it goes very much into his depression and how he still lives with it day to day.
Sure.
And
that's important
his anxiety
to me.
About getting on stage.
Sure.
All that stuff. How he still has anxiety like before he gets on stage. He for a period of time he just wanted to be in the studio writing songs, didn't want to perform live. So yeah, it's cool so far. So my point being, like, I got to finish with this. I'll eventually get to Sebastian's book.
I will have to say though that John Miller needs to get that his documentary of Young Axl before the book comes out. Or, it depends.
From what it sounds like, it's been taking a very, very long time, and we'll see if it ever comes out.
I don't blame him, but from what he's said on the air and off the air, that he's really worked hard, and this is quite a project, and it's very difficult. And it's probably the same thing for Axl writing this book. But at least now we know from Bez, who is kind of like his Jimmy Hart, Mouth from the South, kind of just representing Axl at times, wrestling reference, that he has stuff written down. And it's going to be very interesting because when people, reading the stuff about Axl online, especially after the Trump pinata stuff, which I can understand, especially from your point of view, respect the office. If you don't like the person, respect. And I get that. But the people who are still calling him an ass and this and that, I'm like, I don't know what it's like to be a person who was molested when he was 2 years old, when you're 2 years old. And Lord knows what else he's been through. Is it an excuse to be a jerk? And I will say this too, because Kanye West just recently canceled all his tours.
Which Sebastian Bach has commented on. And he did rant about it at the show I was at.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, and you could do that. And I was the same way. I'm like, really? Not only did Dave Grohl, but Axl Rose, who was the king of not showing up, showed up with a broken leg and was doing his thing. But when it came out that he may have had a mental breakdown about his mom, for somebody who also, because I unexpectedly lost my dad, and sometimes where that comes up, I'm like, you know what? I empathize him for a little bit. So that's where I am with Axl, with this band. Like, I can empathize a little bit with certain people are going through what Duff was going through. He was killing himself through drinking. Me, I've had my addiction. It's been over a year now since I've drank. That I empathize with that. I love what Adler. I mean, my God, he looks in every picture so healthy and so good. So, I mean, I love seeing this stuff and what this band represents to be this band that they all could have easily died.
Yeah.
They could have been like the Motley Crue, where you're just waiting for them to die. I mean, the fact that they've all survived thus far is still a miracle. And they've all matured. And
I don't know about Vince Neil.
Vince Neil, he's I know he's
I don't know about say he for sure.
he's still alive. He hasn't committed manslaughter. I think it's been the anniversaries of
He did apparently drag a woman by the hair at an airport, though. And I don't know if I consider that growing up.
I don't know. And with Nicolas Cage hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a weird world that we live in. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I would love to see. If Skid Row.
I liked the rumor, by the way, about Vince Neil possibly playing the inauguration of Trump. That would have been hilarious to see.
And he's like, I agreed to it before I even know who's going to win. And the next thing I know is like, I'm not doing it. Okay, can you imagine that? What would he sing? What Motley Crue song would he sing for Donald Trump? I'm just trying.
Girls, girls, girls.
Grabbing puss. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, I keep thinking like it's going to end up being like Ted Nugent or some country star like Toby Keith or something like that. Oh, and there's something, unless there's something else you want to say, because I want to mention, we can bring it up later too. That stupid article that you had sent me about Guns N' Roses versus Nickelback. Yeah. Do you have that?
I don't know. I have my phone over there charging, but I think if you Google like Nickelback versus Guns N' Roses,
did we post that? Because I'm going.
I don't know, but I don't think we did. But yeah, some guy wrote an article. I don't even remember for what, about why you should go see Nickelback instead of Guns N' Roses. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, this was and this really correlates to everything that we've been talking about. That was like why Nikki Sixx got off Facebook or and Twitter. And it's the trolls that are out there. And how I look at it is because it upset a lot of the Guns N' Roses fans. And by the way, quick shout out to I like the group that you invited me into. What is it called? Yeah. The Facebook Guns N' Roses group?
You'd have to
Not
check.
in this lifetime
I think
Guns N' Roses group, whatever it is. So I look at it and it upset a lot of people there. I look at it and I saw that before you sent it to me. I'm like, this is somebody who wants clicks. And it's a smart way to get clicks. It's not 5 reasons not to see Guns N' Roses, 5 reasons to see Guns N' Roses. It's 5 reasons to skip Guns N' Roses and see Nickelback instead. Now,
what's the name of the guy that like on Soft we do Throat Punch of the Week? So I don't know what our equivalent would be. But.
And we want to talk about this too because we want this to trend us. We want to talk about this because I think at least me probably more so than you. I'll get angry at somebody. We were like maybe call it Get in the Ring.
Yeah.
But I had an idea for a talk show once for a past radio station. Now I wanted to do something similar called the serotonin send off. Somebody who needs to be medicated. So we'll come up with a name. So we'll come up with something.
I just think this guy needs to be punched in the face, not medicated.
Yeah. No. It's something where we're going to come up with a bit.
So what's his name? What's the name? Because you have it up there.
The name is Corey Zurowitzki.
All right.
And this was on citypages.com.
You are a douche. For saying that you should see Nickelback. But you know what? Actually, I will say to his credit, I guess, I've heard Nickelback is a very fun live show, and I don't find that hard to believe. Apparently, Jerry Cantrell will like come out at Nickelback shows. I don't know if you've seen that. He's a fan, believe it or not. So, I mean, there's certain... When I try to explain to people why like Poison is fun to see live, they're like, "Oh, it's stupid."
They're great.
But, like,
they're great.
Yeah, they're fun. Like, there's certain music that's fun, and I bet you Nickelback is a fun live show.
I don't think you. I think you were still in high school because you're younger than me. My freshman year at Hofstra University, Nickelback played.
Really?
It was Nickelback. It was Saliva. And Default. They played. Like this, it's usually like a cafeteria for Hofstra. Kate and Willie's.
So this is way before Nickelback was Nickelback.
This is when they first broke with How You Remind Me. And Saliva had Your Disease, and Default had, oh my God, Wasting My Time.
Who remembers anything but
Wasting My Time.
Okay.
It was a good song. Shut up. It was respect the Canadian bands. So are
they all Canadian?
I don't think Saliva is.
Oh, all right, because Nickelback, yeah.
Yes.
Canadian.
So I like that first record that was on that, How You Remind Me was on, and Too Bad. I'm like, that's a good record. They, for whatever reason, they've become like the winger of a new generation where they're not a bad band.
Well, Creed gets a lot of crap.
Creed did too.
And I love Creed.
I have no problem with Creed as well. I've seen Creed. I saw you mentioned Jerry Cantrell. Yeah. I saw Jerry open up for Creed at the Nassau Coliseum. Wow. It was a great show. So this article comes out, and for me, it's just... If he believes it, he's a tool, but it's good clickbait. So I'm going to read you the first one. Here's why. Nickelback is loyal to the Nickelback brand. First of all, the Nickelback brand, like that's like an oxymoron. Like, what is that? It's like the RC Cola brand.
I picture like Walmart moms. Like, is that who goes to a Nickelback show? I would think.
I guess.
You know, Tiger Woods went to a Nickelback show, which was very disappointing.
Really?
Yeah, I remember like in the heat of all his, sleeping with tons of women thing.
Yeah.
He was spotted at a Nickelback show, and he was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to rock out." And I remember people even posting. They were like, "His biggest crime is not sleeping with all these porn stars and Perkins waitresses. His biggest fault is that he went to a Nickelback show."
Perkins waitresses. Oh, wow.
Well, remember, one of them was a Perkins waitress. It was like porn star, Perkins waitress.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Wow, that's hilarious.
He wanted like some regular girl in there, I guess.
And also, I remember, and those you listening may remember, there was I love sometimes these trends on Facebook that happen that are just so stupid. One was like, can this page about this pickle get more likes than the Nickelback fan page, which had 1 million likes.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, there was this page just with a picture of a pickle that got more likes than Nickelback. So things are funny. So he goes, I can defend the flutes and Axl jumping off an aircraft carrier and swimming with porpoises as he does in the Strange music video. But Axl's actions in recent times have been the stuff of rock sacrilege for other reasons. His ruining Shoot to Thrill and Thunderstruck as AC/DC's imposter frontman of 2016. This guy needs to get throat punched.
I don't even want to go through the rest of it because he's just like, I don't want to give this guy so much attention.
But I want to get...
That's what he's looking for. He's an attention whore.
I won't maybe get into it too much, but I want to just give the bullet points because of the attention, because it's ridiculous. First of all, AC/DC was amazing, one of the best shows ever. He's doing a great job. So you're a douchebag, and he's talking about how other people filling in for the other bands, and that's what a lot of people did talk about, him ruining the GNR brand. But that's still not a reason to see Nickelback. Who gives it's the original Nickelback? Nobody cares! Fist yourself. God damn it. All right, then he writes this. GNR has not aged well. All right, first of all, Duff looks better than he used to. Slash looks the same. And who else are you going to talk about?
Slash is actually jacked. He's got
a little bit of a little pot belly.
Yeah, he does, but he
still looks good.
But his arms are huge, actually.
Right. And then he goes,
they're older guys. It is what it is.
Right. Have you gotten a chance to listen to online audio bites of Axl's voiceover time, which we've spoken about? But now
sounds better than ever right now.
Sounds great, and he's gotten praise not just from us, who may be biased,
including the haters.
Vinnie Paul from Pantera, who
but even haters, even people who really didn't like the Chinese Democracy years are coming out and saying this band is great, and we've covered all this.
Yeah, so we talked about that before, and then now he goes on to say Nickelback are better people. Shut up, dude. Like, better people, you don't know them and all. It's funny. You look at a lot of...
You might know them. He's a writer, but...
But you look at a lot of Chad Kroger's, songs. Everything, he has so many It's So Easy kind of songs where he's just talking about, you look something better in your mouth. That's the title of a song. And just really just getting into it with women. So who knows how he treats women and how other people. So, that's just BS. And here's something else, too. We were talking about political stuff, and this is something that I saw a lot on the Guns N' Roses thread when they posted about the Trump thing, was quoting 1 in a Million, okay? I think it's a great song musically. Obviously, the lyrics involve the N-word. They involve the F-word, the slur for homosexuals. I just don't want to say it just because they're buzzwords.
Because you're a social justice warrior. We know.
Social justice, 1, 2, 3.
No, I try to be conscious, a time and place, and now it's just to use a word right now for me that invokes strong emotion. There's no reason to.
The song is so old. It's
But for me, I was in the interpretation that yes, he used those words. Slash wasn't cool with it, but he's saying, "Here's me, and I'm going to the nth degree with how I feel about this. I got to use these strong words to be like, where am I?" I don't think he's saying, I hate gay people, I hate black people, because he doesn't.
Yeah, we've gone over this, dude. I feel like we're giving this guy's article too much attention, but
it's out right now, and I just want to say it. Well, if anything, we'll call this guy out. We'll get him on the show to explain himself. He also says
he might be a nice guy for all I know.
Maybe
who just doesn't like GNR. It would happen.
It's possible. It's humanly impossible to take a modern day Axl seriously. And he's just saying, you know, the way Axl used to dress, and he just looked badass. And the way Axl dresses now, I mean, he's a little bit better. He doesn't have the cornrows. He got rid of that porn stash, the Hulk Hogan, Fu Manchu, whatever.
Well, he still has it going on.
Yeah, and I think he looks cool. And now he's just saying, you know,
does he currently have the stash? No, he doesn't.
No, he's clean shaven.
Yeah,
clean shaven. And then he goes, the last one is only for the 5 reasons. For the love of Steven Adler, you must not. And it's just basically saying that he wants Adler back in the band, and that's not a reason to see them. And again, Nickelback's core players. Who gives a shit about core players of Nickelback? So stupid. I've seen Nickelback. See Guns N' Roses. So, do I really need to say that?
We're coming up on an hour. Could I mention 2 things? I want to mention 2 recent shows I was at.
You're allowed to say whatever you
want. No, because I just know we're wrapping up here. Sebastian Bach, I didn't really get into it, was awesome, dude. It was a great show. He still kills it live.
I had to work that night, I think.
Yeah, and I saw him recently at BB King's. Actually, when we first started the show, I saw Sebastian Bach, and then I saw him now. I left that show early. I just was feeling kind of out of it. He didn't sound totally on point the night I saw him at BB King's. He sounded great at Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
He might not sound as good as he did like 5 years ago, but you know, he still has an incredible voice. I don't like the fact that they start the set list with like a few covers, and he starts with like a song he did on Gone Country. It's like, dude, start with some Skid Row or something.
Didn't you tell me like who opened for them?
A extremely hot chick named Rachel Lauren.
You said that there was a Skid Row.
Oh, well, I think they usually do Skid Row covers. Their name is Big Guns. But they apparently do other covers, but I got there late, but from what I hear, they didn't do any Skid Row songs, which was good.
Oh, because you said like I just saw a Skid Row band open up for Sebastian Bach.
I said why are they opening?
Oh,
but
okay.
But the chick fronting them, who doesn't usually, I guess they kind of mesh their set together, is this girl Rachel Lauren. Wearing a very revealing outfit, and she is sexy as hell. So,
all right,
she was awesome. We got to get her in studio just so I can look at her.
just to look at her.
Just for that reason.
That's not creepy at all.
She was hot as hell and had a great voice. So I'll give her that too. She had a great voice. But anyway, the show itself, I would have liked to have seen them start with some Skid Row hits. It was not a greatest hits set per se. Like they didn't do Slave to the Grind. I was surprised by that. They did the rest of the hits. They did some stuff off Subhuman Race. Yes.
Okay.
They did stuff off Subhuman Race, and did some solo stuff. But he sounded awesome. And then the big highlight was that he brought up the original drummer for Skid Row.
Yes.
And he made the comment that there's been a million people who claim to be in the band Skid Row.
They're all hacks. Yes.
And he named the original guys. He was like, that's it. These are the original guys, and that's the band. And people were like, oh, he put his foot in his mouth. I don't think so. Even our friend Stevie Rochelle, who's not a fan of Sebastian on a personal level, wrote some headlines that were a little over the top. If you were there, I don't think he said anything crazy. He just said, these are the members of the band. I'm the original singer. This is the original drummer. It is what it is.
It kind of sounded like what Steven Adler was saying for years, that this is Guns N' Roses. This is it. And, that Steven Adler's had to play nice, and he's been quiet, and he's been allowed back in the band. So, at least on a part-time basis. And we also put out a photo that Frank Ferrara, is that how do you say his last name?
Yeah, I think so. I've heard Axl call him Frank Ferrara, even though it looks like Ferrer kind of, but I've heard Axl say Ferrara, so that's what I've gone with.
Double F. Yeah. So he put a picture of him and Steven on the bus together. And that's so cool.
Yeah.
That they've been so welcoming. And Frank seems like such an awesome guy, and he fits the mesh of that band, I think, really well.
Yeah, he's the man.
So it just sounded like Steven Adler's. But you're right. When you're there, you just don't know in these articles. So that's something we want to peel back the layers of.
You can see the videos up. Sebastian Bach he lets his opinion be known.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. And as I always say, like these 80s bands, whatever you want to call them, hair bands, Skid Row is its own thing, I think. But like, there's always a fun vibe in the room. And if you see Sebastian Bach, you're going to have a fun night.
I agree.
And that's what it boils down to. Like, there's a lot of bands that I love, but it's not that fun vibe. And I loved it. He actually ended the show with a cover of AC/DC.
Okay.
TNT, I believe. I was walking out before that happened because it seemed like the set was over, and the previous nights he was ending the set with I don't remember. It might have been "I Remember You," one of those Skid Row songs. But anyway, because it was such a great crowd for him, completely sold out. at Poughkeepsie.
The Poughkeepsie, because I used to do the Chance. I used to do radio up at WPDH in Poughkeepsie, and they have a really good, strong rock culture there. They really appreciate it.
So I guess because of how big the crowd was, they played an extra song.
Okay.
It just made me think, man, these guys got to reunite, because if he could sell out the Chance in Poughkeepsie, pretty big, smaller venue.
Yeah.
I don't think they would necessarily sell out the Chance, but like if they came together, they could start playing some big venues together.
Sure.
Selling out. So that was awesome. And then the second thing I want to mention, if this, before we wrap up here, completely outside the realm of rock and roll, but I saw Cameron from Diplomats play Amityville Music Hall. And here's the thing that's crazy for me. Like, Cameron is a multi-platinum selling artist who has played football stadiums, like with Dipset, and he played a tiny capacity room in Amityville Music Hall, and he kind of pulled an Axl of waiting until 12:15 to get on stage, 12:15 a.m. Crowd was getting very antsy. It was like shoulder to shoulder, and it was awesome, man. It was like a completely memorable concert. And I almost feel like Cameron, if you're a rap fan, is like an Axl Rose of hip-hop, in that he says whatever the fuck he wants.
Okay.
He gets into controversy all the time. He's got that swagger about him. And it was awesome. So 2 amazing shows recently, and I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, it's cool, because we always like to talk about out and about when we're doing. I haven't gone to a show in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of itching to get, because I want to see what's coming to the Paramount soon and see what's going on. So I am jealous, especially of Sebastian Bach, and especially since I could have met him since
you
he was
could have gone, man.
I think I was working. What night of the week was that?
I don't remember. I think I texted you and you couldn't do it. It was Saturday. It was Saturday.
I think that's when I was working with Chris Broussard, who used to be on ESPN. Now he's in Fox Sports. He actually, I just worked with him last night. He came in to do his radio show. So I'm all over the place. I just did today, also helping this week, a radio show that came in from Phoenix, because they were in town to do some New York-y things. And it's so funny listening to radio in other markets. I've never heard a commercial for like scorpion poison, because I guess they have a scorpion problem in Phoenix, in Arizona. So that's hilarious. I mean, that's what I've been up to, just working on so many different radio shows. And
nice.
It was just so cool that Sebastian Bach was here in Q104.
He's promoting that book heavily.
Yeah, no, as he should, and I think he's getting a good job, doing a good job of it. And the way, and if we retweeted, and it's also on our Facebook, the Facebook Live, where he talks about, why is this different than any of the rock autobiography? He's like, it's not just sensationalism. I want this, even if you're not a Skid Row fan, to enjoy the stories that I'm going to tell you. So I appreciate that. And he also did say, like, who would you want to open up for? And he did mention Guns N' Roses, like I could do that again. So there was actually plenty of Guns N' Roses and Axl talk, other than the clip we played you before, about Axl's potential autobiography. In the future, because as we're, I don't know if there's anything else you want to get out there, we made a point to just have you and I.
Yeah, because we haven't done it in a while.
We had to rekindle our love for each other. Because there's a lot of strong, like with the political stuff, and we wanted to kind of have a good, not a flowing conversation.
No, it's cool, man. I like doing spotlight interviews, but I also like talking to you. But we'll be back probably in 2 weeks with a awesome guest, I'm sure. There's a lot of people who've been trying to get on.
On the docket, I want to make sure, because if anything, follow
Dockin'.
Dockin'. Follow. Did I quote something?
No, when you said on the dockin'.
Oh, on the docket.
Oh, I thought on the dockin'. And I was going to be like, that's our joke, is that dockin' gets mentioned every show.
Fair enough. Follow on the docket at GNR Truth. Walker, he's reached out to us, and he has a lot of insight on the Chinese democracy era. So we want to talk to him at some point.
Carla from Butcher Babies apparently wants to come on.
Yes, lead singer, I believe, right?
There's 2 singers, yeah.
Okay, that shows my ignorance.
And they're both,
I know them. I just haven't.
And speaking of sexy front ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to reach out to Dave Kushner, the guitarist from Velvet Revolver, of course, because he's retweeted a couple of our stuff.
I'd like to get Raven from Sirius XM Volume in studio. She said she'd come in and she could do in studio.
She's cool.
Awesome. And her big thing is she's like not into this until Izzy is a part of it. So I'd like to get her take on that.
Okay, and she's very animated. She's very cool, Sirius XM Radio. And there's a lot of people that we're still going to reach out to. And we've been very lucky and privileged that people like Charlie Benanti have wanted to come on and Vicky Hamilton. So if you missed those episodes, they're good ones. I don't know what else we can add to it. We're going to have another new episode, more Guns N' Roses talk, center of our universe, because no matter what, you're a Trump person, you believe in a flying spaghetti monster, whatever your belief is, Guns N' Roses is law. Guns N' Roses is religion.
Absolutely.
I want to. It's finding that common thread where we're all different in a certain way, but we all breathe the same air. Guns N' Roses is what ties us together.
And
as
you know
friends.
what? With like the winter weather and it getting cold outside, I'm very much like a mood music person for music that fits the scenery. And Guns N' Roses, to me, they have songs on Appetite that are summer songs. They have songs on the Illusion albums that are winter songs for me.
Everything.
It's just like that's why they're such a timeless band.
And I'm really curious to see, because signs are pointing that they will make a new record. It's never been dismissed. I think it was Richard Fortas in the interview he did with I think it was a station in St. Louis. Reason I know that offhand because I'm jealous because I've tried reaching out. But it's fine. It's whatever. I'm not bitter or anything. That he said like, oh, they're always writing, testing ideas, things like that. So it's never been dismissed. So let's say you have anything else to add, my dear Ian.
You know what? I was in my head. I was thinking of the one thing we didn't really discuss. Maybe we'll save it for another episode because we've gone a whole hour here. But the whole DJ Ashba saying I was invited to be a part of the reunion thing.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll do that another time.
No. We can have a little brief little discussion on that. I understand that of getting a soundbite, of getting a quote, and it's not like he's going around saying interview me. He's out there.
Yeah, 6 a.m. is doing a lot of press.
Right. I just can't.
Saw him at Sirius the other day.
He said that Axl came to him and like invited him to this reunion. And I'm just like, either he's so delusional that this was not part of it, saying like Axl was inviting him to come hang out. You're still part of this family. But he, I guess appropriately so, he's like, I'm focusing on 6 a.m. I don't want to take away. Of course. But I can't imagine that Axl Rose would do what he's been doing with the guest spots from Adler. Hey, you know what, Slash, sit out a spot. Let's have DJ Ashba come in.
I'm wondering if...
I can't imagine that.
I'm wondering if what he's insinuating is maybe like he'd be in the Richard Fortas spot.
But what would that serve? Unless he came out as another guitarist that wanted to play something.
But I mean... I think that there's more loyalty to Fortas. That's why this is kind of strange to me. But I mean, what if the lineup was the two guitarists were Slash and Ashba? Kind of strange. But
it would be strange, and I would see no purpose of it other than it would be Fortas, Ashba, and Slash.
I'm saying no Fortas.
I know what you are. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying to me that's stupid. I just don't understand what's the allure of that. What's the point of that? Unless Axl and Ashba have some sort of connection and like I want you in my life kind of thing. I don't know.
Ashba's definitely more of a showman. Like I feel like when he was up on stage, he's very into getting the crowd participation and all that stuff. But yeah, I'd rather see Fortas up there. I think most
Fortas
people would.
has been part of the band for a long time.
Yeah.
Ashbro hasn't written, as far as we know, unless it shows up in the next record, he hasn't written anything for them. So what's the point? I was a fan of him coming on board with Guns N' Roses at the time, obviously pre-reunion, but it's just weird. It's just like weird. Like why? Like he's just stirring the pot. Like really?
He was asked about it though.
I guess, and I want to give them benefit of the doubt because he seems like a cool guy, even though he kind of looks like
and you got to keep this in mind too. These are radio interviews, and it's the world of clickbait.
Right.
So if someone took 10 seconds of this entire 70-minute podcast, however long this goes, they can make you look like some type of asshole. That's
and I'm doing a pretty good job by myself.
But they really, it's not hard to find one clip, take it out of context, and this is the headline. So I'm sure if he had more time to explain himself, and also it's not like it was a written statement. It's like a spur of the moment thing. He's asked a question. This was his response.
And
so
I guess
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I love all the Gunners.
And it's just, I guess it's interesting that Axl gave him that. Assuming, and I don't know why he would make that up. He doesn't seem that kind of a delusional kind of person. That Axl would offer that to him, and that's just really fascinating. Is this going to become, like a Menudo, where there's like, do you have all these? I don't know. It's just
it would be strange though, as you're saying, if they're like / sit down these songs. Like, we're bringing out DJ Ashbro.
I mean, it's just weird, really, really weird. But we'll see. If they brought out Buckethead and they did,
I would love to see
and
that.
they did. There was a time he did that solo. That would make sense.
Yeah,
but we shall see. We shall see, my dear Ian. So unless you have anything else to say,
no, I think that's it, man.
Not even.
I'm about to head back home and watch. You ready for it?
What?
Mariah's World on E.
You're an embarrassment. Like, why?
I like cheesy reality TV. And Mariah Carey is both very hot and very talented, and I like that combination.
I don't think she looks good anymore.
Oh, dude, she looks great.
She's out of my league, so I will say that. But I guess, I don't know.
Not a fan of the ridiculously huge fake boobs?
No, not at all. I'm not a big boob guy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. She seems kind of cray-cray. She is kind of cray-cray.
That's why it's an entertaining show. Watch Mariah's World.
And I'm going to watch The Walking Dead for the mid-season finale. I'm not going to be as cool as, what's his face, Charlie Benanti, who watched the season premiere on the Slayer bus.
Yeah. I have the taste in TV of like a gay man, so I do.
At least, hey, to each their own, man. That's so funny. I'm going to take that clip and use that from now on for future episodes.
Yeah, do it. Clickbait.
Yeah, there you go. So, all right, well, we appreciate you listening to Appetite for Distortion, episode 12. We appreciate the patience you guys have had. Download us on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen to us anywhere in the world. We are in the iHeartRadio studios in New York City right now. Also, please leave us a review on iTunes.
Yeah.
That's how we can climb the charts. And hopefully we can get some big-name guests like Bobby Blotzer on the show. So we will see. And until next time, we're hoping it's going to be 2 weeks. I guess we'll leave it as how Axl Rose once said about Chinese democracy. I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.
You've been listening to the distorted minds of Brando and Scotto, dissecting all things Guns N' Roses on Appetite for Distortion. Follow the guys on Twitter at the AFD Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/the AFD Show.
Thanks to the lame ass security, I'm going home.